Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about a topic that I kind of struggle with a little bit. I'm sure a lot of you out there do too. And that is, how much power do you need in your Harley Davidson, or really any motorcycle for that instance? How much is enough? So I'll tell you what, grab yourselves a nice coffee, get a little caffeinated, and let's get to it. Now, this is a long-standing topic that's probably very controversial, and it's been going on for years about how much power you actually need in a bike. But the issue is that over the years, especially lately, it seems that motorcycles just keep every few years getting more and more powerful and bigger and bigger and bigger engines. Now, if you want to look back with Harley Davidson, you can look back to the Evolution engine that came out in 1984 and lasted till around 1999. Now, I'm a big fan of the Evolution engines, and really they remained relatively unchanged for about 15 to 16 years, where you had an 80 cubic inch engine, or about 1340 cc, putting out about 65 foot-pounds of torque and 55 horsepower. And really, for most of its run, that's mostly what it was. Now, going forward from 1999 and 2000 to about 2017, you had the twin cam, and that lasted for around that 18-year mark. Now, the thing about the twin cam was, unlike the Evolution, you really had different displacements that came up. When the twin cam came out, you were looking at an 88 cubic inch engine. Now, really, that lasted for about 7-ish years. Then you got a 96 cubic inch twin cam engine. And again, you go about another 5 years later, now it's around 2012, and you're looking at a 103 twin cam engine. And you have to understand too, keep in mind, we're not looking at CVO models or Screaming Eagle models. Those are just the general, more or less, production engines that came out with the twin cam. So you started seeing the jumps every several years in displacement. Now, we had that 103 twin cam for about 5 years until 2017, when things changed and Harley came out with the Milwaukee 8 engine. Now, it's 2023, we've had that engine for about 6 years, and we've gone from a 107 cubic inch engine to a 114 cubic inch engine, and now a 117 cubic inch engine in some production models. If you look over the 6 years, averaging it out, that's a little over a 1.5 cubic inch increase each year. And I'm sure within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to start seeing production models, possibly like the Lowrider S that I have, come out with a 121 engine, which they're now putting in their new CVO models. Now you're even seeing an increase in the Screaming Eagle crate engines. In 2020, I believe it was, they came out with a 131 cubic inch engine. Now, here we are in 2023, and they've come out with the 135 cubic inch engine that reportedly is putting out, 130 horsepower and 143 foot-pounds of torque to the rear wheel. And my question is, where do you stop? Some of these engines they're coming out with, they're more powerful than car engines. I mean, pretty soon you're going to get a motorcycle engine the size of a car. You're going to end up driving around bikes that are about the same size as a Boss Haas. Now, the actual sheer size of engines obviously can be remedied. All you really have to do is look at sport bikes or something like the Revolution Max engine. You have a smaller displacement liquid-cooled engine that puts out way more horsepower, however, a lot less torque. But all you have to do, especially on these street bikes, is just Google them, and you're seeing bikes with these lower displacement engines that can do 150 to 200 miles per hour. That's like around 320 kilometers an hour for us metric folk. And I mean, when you live in a place like here, where you have a speed limit of about 70 miles per hour or 110 kilometers, you're not even going to come close, not even close to touching what that bike can actually do. And talking about, guys getting crazy with power, I seem to recall one guy one time that I saw, he had nitrous bottles mounted to the down tubes of his Harley. And he was from BC and regularly rode in the Rockies. So I guess my question is, where the hell are you going to use nitrous when you're in the Rocky Mountains? Now, for myself, I've said I've battled with the kind of how much is enough, how much power is enough type argument. And I mean, in the past, with the Fat Boy I had, I very seriously considered putting a cam in it. But at the same time, didn't really think I needed to. Even with the Lowrider S I have right now, I've thought about camming that. But, when you have a bike that already puts out stock-wise 103 horsepower, around 125 or 26 foot-pounds of torque, with the stage 1 I have on it now, maybe slightly more, the question is, do I really need it? I can go as fast as the speed limit. I can go way faster than the speed limit and still have throttle left to spare. So do I really need it? And also talking about that, I have a 1988 Sportster, and that thing is, man, it's pretty gutless. But even at the speed I can get that thing going, it's enough to kill me or cripple me pretty badly. And that bike doesn't put out much. I mean, that bike stock was about 40 horsepower. And I'm sure now it's a lot less than that. And I can easily kill myself with the power that it's in that. And I can go the speed limit. Do you really need more than that? It just seems like today that folks feel like they need to put a race engine into their bikes just for their regular everyday driving. And quite frankly, it's not needed. You don't need a bike that's putting out really 200 horsepower to ride around on public streets. It's not really needed. Now, possibly the best example I can give you guys from my own personal experience doesn't have to do with a motorcycle and has to do with a car. I always liked the Dodge Challengers, and several years back I managed to actually get my hands on one. I thought if I ever had the opportunity I would take it, so I did. And I had that car for all of 1 year. And the reason I had it was because it was just more car than I needed. The only time I really enjoyed riding and driving that car was when I was going way faster than I needed to go and had the music blaring and all that. But eventually it got to the point where it was boring to just ride it around the street. And I ended up getting rid of it because it was more car than I needed for my everyday driving habits. So in the end, it just seems like manufacturers are just one-upping themselves more and more and more and putting out more and more powerful bikes than are actually needed. Now, I will say it would be cool to tell your buddy that you have a, turbocharged 135 crate engine, nitrous fuel that puts out like 200 horsepower and will go 300 miles an hour or whatever. Sounds cool, but again, do you really need it? Now, there are exceptions to the rule, obviously. Now, if you are a racer, if you do drag races, all that stuff, you take the bike out to the track, that's a different story. I'm talking about regular use here. Or if you're somebody who has a massive bank account and is just a collector and is just looking to just plain show it off, that's a different story too. I suppose in the end, if it sounds good, people are probably going to buy it. And I mean, I have to look at myself too, because honestly, I'm kind of in that same boat. I mean, one of the reasons I bought my Lowrider S was because of the performance. I didn't really need it, but I thought, hey, that 117 cubic inch engine, got to try that out. So basically, people, even me, will continue to buy these overpowered bikes for no reason other than it's nice to say that they're overpowered, and they'll probably never use the power that they have. But hey, maybe I am completely out to lunch on this topic. I would like to hear from you guys. If you have some thoughts and think I'm completely way off, let me know in the comments. But anyway, until then, we will catch you in the next one.